Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, once more, welcome to my platform. Sorry for being a few minutes late. It's due to some technical faults and technical problems. You know, machines were made by man, but they can always disappoint us. Ladies and gentlemen, once more, you are welcome. You are welcome to my platform. You can share and share and share. For those people who are not connected, you can share so that we can share this information. You can share properly so that people who cannot follow it live will be able to listen to the broadcast afterwards. Ladies and gentlemen, once more, brothers and sisters, you people are welcome on board. Welcome on board. Welcome, 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 welcome. Welcome on board and welcome on my live show. Today, I will have some interesting topics that we will need to share, that I will need to throw more lights on. The whole topic itself is updates on the Southern Cameroon Revolution, or like some people call the Southern Cameroon Restoration process. Ladies and gentlemen, once more, welcome, welcome, welcome. My brothers and sisters, home and abroad, you are welcome to this show. You are welcome, and welcome. This without wasting a lot of time. You know, I won't take much of your time. We will have this show for about 30 minutes, between 30 minutes to 40 minutes for us to digest this information, for us to share this information, to boost our revolution. My brothers and sisters, you can keep on sharing, share, and invite groups, invite friends, share so that those who are not connected, those who are not online, will have the opportunity to follow this live show. This live show of today is very, very important. Very, very important for us to share. Very, very important to invite our friends. My brothers and sisters, once more, I would like us to digest some informations and share some ideas, very important ideas that are affecting our revolution and what needs to be done to make sure that this revolution is on track. Ladies and gentlemen, once more, I thank you very much for this show. So my brothers and sisters, without wasting much of your time, I will drive straight to the show. Today, what we shall have, I will be talking on the following subjects: the reasons why the IG must remain in place in this revolution. Secondly, I will be talking on the eye-opener, or a good lesson to the federalists and to the so-called one Cameroon, one and indivisible Cameroon, to the advocates of one and indivisible Cameroon. And we shall be throwing some light on the killings in Bafut, that is in northern zone, and reasons why the restoration forces shouldn't be receiving calls from people living here in the diaspora, from specific people. And another reason that we shall be looking into will be that of funding our revolution, and more precisely, funding the Kupe Muaninguba County. Funding the Kupe Muaninguba County, which I happen to hail from. Funding the Kupe Muaninguba County and its LGS. And lastly, we shall be talking about Southern Cameroon, Belgium, the rebooting of Southern Cameroon, Belgium, and the need to work with genuine Southern Cameroonians who are in Belgium, who stands for complete an unconditional, independent Southern Cameroon. My brothers and sisters, follow me as we discuss these issues. As we discuss these issues properly, systematically, step by step. Now, I will start by saying the reasons why I think and why we should encourage that the IG, the interim government of the people of Ambazonia, should stay in place. The interim government led by Dr. Sako. This is the original interim government, which was created because we also have some fake other interim governments there, KIK and so on, other groups. But the interim government that it was created by the former president, His Excellency Sisiko Tabe Julius Ayok, who is languishing in jail right now, is the interim government that all of us, the sons and soil, the sons and daughters of Ambazonia, should support. This interim government, without missing words, has some faults, just as every structure in any country or every government institutions have faults, have errors, have flaws. But we can't say because this interim government has some faults or have flaws that we shouldn't continue with this interim government in support of the creation of a revolutionary council. That is impossible. With the creation of this interim government under His Excellency Sisiko Tabe Julius Ayuk, who is now the former president, because the current president now happens to be Dr. Samuel Sako Ekome, who is doing a marvelous job despite of the distractions left and right. This interim government, when it was created and our independence was restored, the government of La République du Cameroon, the colonial government of the Republic of Cameroon, trembled. They tried by every means to crumble this government. If the government of La République du Cameroon is afraid of something, just one thing is the presence of this interim government that we have. If we hadn't a government by today, then this struggle would have ended. Because of the behavior that we have seen some activists showing there on social media, some groups, they would have solved this struggle. But merely because that we have this interim government in place, it is difficult and practically impossible for an individual or for an activist or for a group of people to think that they can dictate the terms of negotiations or dictate the start and the end of this revolution. We have a government. This government is duly recognized by the international community is aware that we have a government. Even if the people say that we are not recognized, they know, because when they want to grant interviews, they always call the communications secretary, who is doing a wonderful job, Chris Anu. In what capacity do we think that they are calling Chris Anu if they don't know? He gets interviews, he grants interviews to BBC Africa, to many other foreign medias. Many, meaning they know the importance of this government. The interim government must stay in place. It's the interim government that is going to dictate the terms of the treaty, the terms of negotiations, whenever we get on a negotiating table. The interim government is there for all of us. It has flaws, no problem, but we prefer the work being carried out by the interim government. We don't want to be looking at the shortcomings, because that is not a government which is based on ground zero. But when we get to ground zero, we shall have a full-fledged government whereby we will be criticizing and be correcting other things that are not taking place well in this revolution. For now, so my brothers and sisters, fellow comrades, home and abroad, never you be confused by a mob of irrelevant activists or irrelevant individuals that are there for their self-interest, that are into this revolution because of one reason or another or the other. Because I can recall, if when Mark Bareta and Tapang Ivo were leading us, that was some sort of government leadership that was leading us. Immediately they took power from them because it was temporal. They became prominent detractors and haters of the interim government. It tells us clearly that they don't hate the interim government because of the work, because of the achievements. They hate the interim government just because they are not leading us. They thought they could lead us. They think that if they don't lead us, people like Mark Bareta, Tapang, Ivo, Eric Tataw, and many others, I don't want to call names a lot. They think if they are not they are not leading this revolution, then we cannot get to Buea. And since they have been trying to confuse people, to convince people to crumble the interim government on several occasions. They have failed. They have carried out verbal assault, defamation, blackmailing, but the interim government stands strong and tall. Whenever something comes up like this, you should know that it is an eye-opener to this revolution. We cannot be moving from a government and be going to a revolutionary council. That doesn't make any sense. My brothers and sisters, come on. What the hell is going wrong? We cannot be moving from a government and demoting ourselves, meaning that we have accepted if we destroy the interim government or we dissolve the interim government of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia, therefore automatically we are implying that we are for one Cameroon. A revolutionary council is not a government. We had a government when we, during the periods, during the eras of 1950, 59, 50, 60, 61, we had a government. A full-fledged government with a prime minister. We had a house of chief where we could discuss our own things. We had our own police. So when we are restoring, we are coming back on such a government and to completely put our state in place rather than think. We never had a revolutionary council during our own statehood period. So nobody should be telling us that the creation of a government is an error or was a big error. It was the right decision and the right thing to do. So my brothers and sisters, it's on this that I feel and I think, and most of us think, and most of us know that the interim government shouldn't be dissolved. The interim government should stay in place to see that any negotiation that comes on, like we have the Swiss talk, it doesn't automatically, it doesn't mean that it's the interim government that will go and sit there, but it's the interim government that will be in charge to draw a panel to look for experts that will represent us on that table. And make no mistake, my brothers and sisters, fellow comrades, on ground zero, ground one, and abroad, that the interim government will accept anything less than a free Ambazonia. After we have lost we have lost more than 15,000 people, we have paid the ultimate price. Everything you see La République du Cameroon doing now, maiming people, burying people alive, is because of frustration. The interim government hasn't given La République a single night to sleep properly. They have sleepless night in, day out. So my brothers and sisters, the interim government, never be confused. Don't listen to those detractors. Don't listen to those detractors. The interim government will stay in place and will lead us to Buea. The simple thing, fund your counties. And we have realized that this county by county and LGA by LGA has proven to be the most effective method that we have adopted in this revolution, and is producing fruits, producing good results. Though not 100%, nothing can be 100%, but we are very, very confident that if we fund our counties properly, our LGAs properly, we will shorten this journey to get to Buea. Freedom is never given for free. We knew that we will encounter such things. So my brothers and sisters, the interim government has to stay in place and channel your problems through your counties. If you want them to get to the interim government, put your problems forward to your counties, to your various counties and respective counties, to see that we get to Buea. Fund your counties, fund your LGA. we know there are a lot of people who don't want their faces to be seen. You can fund, you can make your contributions, humanitarian contributions, otherwise as well, by not making your name known or putting your face out there. We know there are a host of people who would like to do that, and we call upon you to identify your LGA and your counties to do those contributions there. Never you listen to any detractors who will stay out there and be telling you that the interim government cannot get us to Buea. If we are at this level like this, it's because the interim government has been doing a wonderful job. That is why we are at this level. The interim government created county by county. With the creation of county by county, you have seen how things are moving. If you compare from the first part of it, during the period of 2017 to now, you see that there have been a wonderful change. We are moving. So my brothers and sisters, don't welcome the idea, such ideas that stipulate that the interim government should be dissolved because of personal interests. Some people, you ask them the reason why the interim government should be dissolved, they have no genuine reasons, and they have no other government that is going to lead us to Buea. They are only out there criticizing the Swiss talk, but that is the solid initiative that the interim government has fought for, and we have it. We must get there. Secondly, I will be moving on another topic, a lesson to the federalists and advocates of one and indivisible Cameroon. When we have been fighting, we have been prosecuting this war like this for quite a long time, many other people said that we are getting to the extreme. We were not getting to the extreme. It's because we know properly the type of regime that we are dealing with. We are dealing with a regime that is brutal, that is inhuman, that doesn't respect basic human rights, that always destroy or disrespect international law. We know it. Now, to the people thinking that federation can be a solution, we've passed that journey. Nobody can lose. You can't sacrifice 15,000 lives for a federation. Then how much will you sacrifice to have your complete independence restored? It means you will sacrifice every person in Ambazonia. That is impossible. We have paid the ultimate price, and we can never be with La République du Cameroon. We can't choose our neighbors, but for this reason, they happen to be our neighbors. They will be our neighbors. But if we were to choose neighbors, we will never choose La République because of what they have done to our civilian population, what they have done to our girls, raping them, what they have done to our children, shooting babies, what they have done to our mothers, and many other things. Now, a lesson to Agbobala, who when he went to jail, we fought for his release. We fought for his release. If before every diplomatic office here, we stage protest movement, we file in until after a lot of pressure, he was forced. La République was forced to free him. But we never knew that he will come out with certain conditions that he signed in his own favor. So when he came out, he changed his language. And now the language, the stand that he took, the stand of decentralization, also called special status, also called federalism, is paying him properly. There is a leaked press release there where he has been suspended from the Minister of Higher Education. You see, for him setting a question, making a question in a class that concerns the Anglophone, just for that mere question, he was flashed out. That is what will happen if you still stay and federate with Cameroon, or if you still stay in any union with La République du Cameroon. Those are the things that will happen. To avoid such things completely, we have to have our own state. As we've restored our independence, we must have our own state and take charge of all the affairs of our state. You will never hear that a minister in southern Cameroon, when we completely have our independence, will be ordering a teacher what to teach, the type of question to give to students. That will never happen. That can only happen in La Republique. So that serves him right, and that is an eye-opener to a lot of others who are sellouts, people like Dr. Santos, people like Fontaine Neba, people like Toumi, if he was to work with the government, and a host of many others that are there preaching federalism or special status or decentralization or one and indivisible Cameroon. That is a lesson. That is just a taste of an iceberg. You can see the way La Republique looks at us. To others, to add this to people talking about one Cameroon, this is still to the preachers or the advocates of one Cameroon or a federal Cameroon. I saw one ex-soldier called Nambere, who is there parading himself on social media with a cheap Carina car, saying life is good, this is how it is sweet, drop your guns and come there. He is not the only one who dropped his gun. Why are the others not having cars? Why are the others not having big jobs? That is not what we want. And to further elaborate or boast this point or back this point, it was clearly said in one news broadcast over Equinox TV by the colonial minister of territorial administration, Atanganji, who said youths should drop their weapons and come to the disarmament center and they will be trained. Take a good, get a good look of it, or listen properly. What did he mention? He said if those people drop their weapons, they will be taken to vocational centers where they will be trained like carpenters, seamstresses, I think others like Okat. You look at the mindset of La Republique, of the oppressor or the colonial regime of Yaoundé, thinking that Ambazonians or southern Cameroonians can only be seamstresses, carpenters, bike riders. That is the set of mind and what they have in their mind. When you happen to still accept and make this error, to miss this golden opportunity of restoring your statehood, if you happen to federate with La Republique, those are the type of jobs you have. Those are the categories of jobs they have selected for southern Cameroonians. That can never happen. That can never happen. Under our own government and under our own state, it doesn't mean that you will work with the government. It's not only the government or the state that gives jobs, but there will be favorable conditions for each and everyone to progress and develop. You want to become a farmer, you will be a farmer with subsidies, who will be subsidized. People will have private companies and they will excel. It doesn't mean that you must work. So don't think, if we are talking of a restoration process or an independent southern Cameroon, then we are terrorists, because some people begin to call us terrorists. We are not terrorists. Search well and look up the definition of a terrorist in a dictionary. We are not terrorists. If we even want to award some people titles of terrorists, then we should be awarding that to La Republique du Cameroon, because we started this with a protest march, peaceful march with plants in our hands, no guns, no weapons. They came with weapons. As any human being, if you are threatened, then you have to defend yourself. So what we are simply doing, we are defending ourselves, not to be killed and wiped off from the face of this earth. So my brothers and sisters, they are killing and looting. La Republique is killing and looting, maiming people, burning houses. More than 600 villages have been burnt. Burying people alive, shooting babies. They are the ones terrorizing our population. They are the ones who should be termed terrorists, not us. We are not terrorists. We are not terrorists, and we can never be terrorists. For those who think they can't support this revolution, by birth you are a southern Cameroonian. By birth or by default, you are a southern Cameroonian. If you don't want to support, you stay quiet. You don't put yourself at risk by coming to make derogatory statements that disfavor or that discourages others. You simply stay and you allow those who want to push forward and fight and free us, and you will also enjoy the state of Ambazonia. It's not for us alone. We are not saying that if you don't fight, then you won't live in Ambazonia. But if you happen to be one of those people that have made themselves clear, staying out there, giving information for a colonial regime to trap or to track our restoration forces, then you are a black leg. And when notice taken, then you will be dealt with. It's not my I don't want our own people to be killed. I don't want any Southern Cameroonian to be killed. But then you have taken that road. If you happen to be an informant or a black leg. So that is an eye-opener to federalists, unionists, advocates of one Cameroon or decentralized Cameroon or special status. That is a big lesson to them. You have seen what they have done to Bala. And there is another audio circulating whereby military men went to the village of the prime minister, and when they were trying to brutalize people, someone was saying that no, ça sont les gens de village de premier ministre. One army also said, même le premier ministre, il est Ambazonian. So you look at the state of mind. So being the seven them as a minister, or you are just being, they are using you like a person to facilitate the agenda of wiping us off. I even let the prime minister have been having a lot of challenges, oppositions from his junior ministers. If he gives instruction, they don't listen, they listen to the presidency. That is exactly the way they see every Anglophone or Southern Cameroonian in any union that you want with them. Federation, decentralization, or one Cameroon. So an eye-opener to all of those people. And any other one who has the intention to divert, to deviate and move and become a sellout should be warned. You have seen what they did to Bala. You have seen what they have done to others. So my brothers and sisters, that was a good lesson, or that is a good lesson for sellouts, federalists, union, one Cameroon, one and indivisible Cameroon. So that is it. And we can advance by talking about the killings in Bafut. Bafut happens to be in the northern zone. What I would like to say, I want to beg on the restoration forces to make sure that they never receive phone calls from certain people who reside here in the diaspora. Stop receiving phone calls from Mark Bareta. Stop receiving phone calls from Tapang Ivo. Stop receiving phone calls from Eric Tato. Because by you receiving these phone calls, they don't give you calls because they want you to survive, or they want you to fight and back this revolution to a logical conclusion. They give you calls to track your location. Never you make an error thinking that when you make a call and you remove the SIM, then you go back to your camp, that phone can still be traced there. La Republique is so desperate, has used every means, every technology to try to locate you people. And he is using infiltrators like those people have mentioned. So never you receive calls from them. Never you receive a call from them. Because if you can recall, immediately every time you receive a call from Mark Bareta, Tapang Ivo, and Eric Tato, something will come up. You will get the next day or next few days that the camp was attacked. So use your sense. Never you receive calls from them. Change your numbers. Each and every one of them who is in possession of your numbers, change those numbers. That is my idea, the only advice I can give to you. Because I'm also aware that there are those people, the names of those I've mentioned, they have been calling forces to change camp, to support the virtual government in the prison. How can somebody even rule you in from prison? Even in your own house, when your father is in prison, he is powerless. You in your house, you can give orders that someone can rule you from prison. Somebody struggling to rule you from prison is not acceptable. Because any person who is in detention, who is in captivity, love to regain his freedom. And by so doing, he will accept any type of condition. for he or she to gain his freedom, except Comrade Tassan Wilfred, who has stood firm on his words till date, and who is considered by these names that I've mentioned, by Rick Tatos and Tapang Ivo, has a failure. It's impossible to think that Tapang Ivo is a failure, Tassan Wilfred is a failure. He can never. He is a chosen man of God, a chosen one among those, the Naira 10. That is how it must move. So restoration forces take this information, take this advice very serious. And I would like to add that Bafut has undergone a lot of pains these few days when the colonial military of Yaoundé bumped in there with a lot of vehicles after a lot of leaks from this type of people I've mentioned. They acquired a lot of damages. So I would like that we as individuals, even if we don't come from the Bafut County, we can always, we should put hands together and also fund and give funds to them, because they have been doing a marvelous job and they are still doing a marvelous job. That is what I think. Don't think that a revolution is fought just for 2 years. As has gone this way so fast, and the international community has been making a lot of pronouncements as concerning our revolution, is because we know the way we have handled it, and it's because it is backed by God. It is, we are fighting justice. It is just. If you are on the side of justice, God never fails you. No matter how it delays, it must come to pass. Unfortunately, I would like to call upon the people of Kupe Muaninguba division. That is a colonial name. The people of Kupe Muaninguba County, where I hail from, because I hail from the Bangem subdivision, Bangem local government area. I would like to use this opportunity, because we also had a few weeks back behind, we had mass killing in Bangem subdivision in the locality of Mwambong, whereby we have an unscrupulous chief there who is parading himself as a chief, because I even learned that his ascension to chieftaincy is marked, or was marked, by corruption. He is not the genuine and the authentic chief of that village. The authentic chief of that village resides here in Europe, and very soon power will change hands. We heard he has been working with the government. I don't want us to be hurting our own people, but anyone who wants to work contrary to the people's will, which happens to be independent Ambazonia, you're going to meet your Waterloo. So we had a lot of killings there. We had a lot of youths that our loved ones there. So I'm calling on Kupe Muaninguba County. We had a meeting a few days behind, and I saw the way, the enthusiasm that a host of people have been contributing to fund this revolution, to fund this Kupe Muaninguba County, to make sure that we have the essential tools in our hands to defend homeland and to defend our county. So we should also fund our LGA, the Tombe LGA, the Bangem LGA, the Nguti LGA. Fund them properly. With that, if we do that, our county will be stronger, and we shall be able to combat the invaders. Bangem is not, Kupe Muaninguba is not out of Southern Cameroon. Kupe Muaninguba is duly a part of Southern Cameroon. So we should never pull back thinking that it's a CPDM affair. It's not multi-party politics. Gone are those days that they will be fooling us, that they have been fooling us for the past 40 years, and we cannot even have a single tar, a simple road from Melong to Bangem. To get there, you can take 8 hours on a bike, just 32 kilometers. You look at the way they look at us. When they repair roads from Melong, they come and end at Douala up. They try again sometime in Boissou, because they know those are their territories. Those territories or those villages belong to La République du Cameroon. They make a great demarcation to show that we don't belong there. Who wants to insult me can insult me. I'm speaking the truth. I've stayed there. I've stayed in Bangem. We don't have roads. Do we have? Potable water was done by us everything that we have suffered for. So I don't see a reason why a kupe muaninguba person would think that he shouldn't support this revolution or he shouldn't fund this revolution, except of those who have been opportune to become elevated slaves, who happen to go in that school called Enam, where they train thieves, who happen to be ministers and so on. Those are the people that will be encouraging you. Don't support this. Those are, because they are afraid that because they have benefited from the colonial regime, and because they are afraid that immediately we will have our independence, all this fraud that they are doing there cannot be done on our land. Because what I want to justify and testify here that I can stand for is that Ambazonia will be one of the most well-managed state country when we restore our independence. We have shown that, we have proven that during the 1959 election, where elections were being organized democratically and there was free transfer of power. That is an example to show that even if we have restored our independence and we are defending it, we can never suffer. People will not suffer. We will move, we will advance, because we have first of all tested democracy properly and we know it. So my brothers and sisters of Kupe Muaninguba County, people from Tombe, LGA, people from Bangem, LGA, people from Guti, LGA, I call upon you to fund these localities and fund your county without looking back. We must get there. We must get there. So I think this serves as a big warning, as a big lesson, as a big eye-opener to us. And I'm doing my activism. I don't collect monies. I don't need monies. If you are even on ground zero and want to contribute for Kupe Muaninguba, you can contact me and give a message, drop a message for me on online, and I would show you where you have to send your contributions. You don't send them to me. I'm not doing that. I'm not in charge of that. I'm just working for this struggle. So fund your LGA in Kupe Muaninguba County and fund the county so that the county should be strong and stronger enough to withstand this barbaric regime of Yaoundé. So I thank you for getting this information that I've given to us today. And lastly, I reside in the Kingdom of Belgium, and we have a branch here, Southern Cameroon, Belgium. Southern Cameroon, Belgium happened to be one of the most vibrant branches when this struggle started. It was in Belgium that the Minister Laurent Esso, who is the most feared minister in Cameroon, was disgraced. It was in Belgium that we told them that they cannot speak when we are speaking. They cannot say anything when they are killing our people behind. And it's from here that this revolution changed, took another shape. Because when they went back without saying a single word, they were disgraced and knew that they are fighting with people that are more stronger and more determined than them. So I see no reason why, because of groups or different ideas, divergent, different groups, so-called what it will want to cause this branch to be so redundant. We don't have to stay calm. We must be dominant. Southern Cameroon, Belgium is a very powerful group. It's a force to reckon with if it comes to this revolution. So I'm calling on all my brothers and sisters who resides here, who happen to have been members of that Southern Cameroon, Belgium, from that 2016, 2017, when I attended meetings. There was no space. If you came to a hall, it would be packed full of people. When we had protest movement, many people came out. So we should keep our differences aside. We can have groups. A group can never take us to Boya. I'm telling you, we have to put things together. We should forget about our groups. If really and genuinely we are fighting for this revolution, then we should come under one umbrella and see that we reboot this group, Southern Cameroon, Belgium, to make sure that we be as vibrant as we were before this state of the revolution. Southern Cameroon, Belgium, I can recall that they paid a bill here. They paid the bill of ABC here. So you can imagine how pushful they were, or how pushful they are, because we still have pushful people there like myself. We have vibrant people there like myself. So I am calling on every Southern Cameroonian who resides in Belgium, be it an ADF member, be it Maurice, be it Sokadef, be it SCNC, you should come under one umbrella and sing a single song. And that single song is to flush La République out of our land. If that is not achieved, then I'm calling secondly of a coalition of the willing to put their hands together, who share a single goal and a single aim of this revolution, which is an independent Southern Cameroonian. We should come together. We should come together. It's better it's better to fight together than to fight as an individual. It's logical if you come together, if you put your hands together, it makes the work so easier. So we should, Southern Cameroon, Belgium, we had a meeting, we have been having meetings, and we have been having meetings. I'm calling on every one of us that there will be a day of reckoning. If you never sponsored this revolution, you will say, "Had I know," because you yourself, you will be ashamed that you can't speak. We should come together and strengthen the branch, this our branch again, and make sure that we vibrate like we did before. We vibrate like we did before. It's because of Southern Cameroonians that they started arresting people at the port of entry in that colonial country, Cameroon. After we disgraced the minister here because of our activism, because of our actions. So you should know that Southern Cameroon, Belgium has a special place in this revolution because they are always there. So if an ADF member thinks he or she cannot join Southern Cameroon, Belgium because of differences in ideas, then he can still fight La République as a group, because all we want is to get to Buea. If you know you don't want to fall under Southern Cameroon, Belgium because they support the IG, because they are prominent and staunch supporters of the IG, the People's IG led by Dr. Samuel Sarko-Ekome, then you can as well fight as your group. They'll be fighting La République instead of fighting us, because you are fighting your brothers and sisters. Therefore, you are not fighting for this struggle. Focus your attention. If you want to raise the fund, and then you fight La République alone. Fight them, we will get to Buea. Rather than raising fund and struggling to fight your own brothers and sisters, that is dragging and pulling back the revolution, my dear brothers and sisters. So, once more, I make an appeal that Belgium, Southern Cameroon, Belgium should be a springboard to all of us again, as it was, so that we can challenge La République properly, solidly, and in every front. That is a revolution. La République du Cameroon cannot keep on buying military hardware, military equipment. They are already bankrupt. They can't pay salaries. They can't pay salaries to their civilians. Like the money that they are struggling to have for the coronavirus, they are so bent to have that money to continue buying weapons because they have no more money. We know it. So we keep fighting and pushing. So my brothers and sisters, we should not be fighting ourselves. That is a simple message. We should focus on the enemy. We have just one enemy, and it's La République du Cameroon. It's not Camto who is the enemy. It's not Pobia who is the enemy. It's La République du Cameroon who is our enemy. That is their forces, with their occupational forces on our land. We don't think that Pobia, because even if Pobia leaves power and another person comes, it's same situation. So we are not talking of leaders. We are talking of a country that has invaded us. So we are not having enemy. We don't have enmity with Camto or La République du Cameroon is our focus. So my brothers and sisters, some people can stay while we fight to liberate homeland, while we fight to restore. We have already restored, while we fight to defend our independence. But they are free. After the things are clear, they can go there. As a Southern Cameroonian, you remain a Southern Cameroonian. Nobody can strip you off from that right. It's your birthright that God gave to you. Nobody, except you put yourself on the opposing side by making statements, public pronouncements that are detrimental to this struggle. That is when people will start going after you. I, as an individual, I don't go after people. I know everyone who is a Southern Cameroonian is a Southern Cameroonian. Either you fight here on Facebook or not, never. Either you fight on social media or never. It's not everybody that will fight. Some will fight and some will need to benefit from the fight. And I know this is how some our forefathers fought. And we got to that stage that we had that level of autonomy. That is why we are enjoying, and that is what we are reclaiming today to continue from there and finish the job. So it is possible also that some of us can fight and then others need to benefit, but that is not a problem. They remain our brothers and sisters. Don't go and attack somebody that he is not supporting the revolution. It means you are killing your own. Don't go and attack a family that they are not supporting the revolution. It means you are killing your own people. In simple terms, you can open their heads by giving them ideas, by trying to convince them that this fight is for all of us. Is for the benefit of all of us, not for you as an individual, rather than using the other way. I'm back there on ground zero. I want to, my apologies to some families that have been receiving threats from a group of people who call themselves Amber Boys. Not everybody who is taking up a knife or a weapon or a stick is an Amber Boy. We have restoration forces. Our restoration forces are well trained and well advised on how to prosecute this war. Anyone who comes there to terrorize the society, collect money from people, ask ransom from people, is not of the restoration forces. Because you can't be making more suffering on your people that are already undergoing a lot of suffering from the hands of La République. So I think the interim government needs to do something, or the country by country, you need to really identify our restoration forces, the genuine one. Then we know what to do with those that are not genuine, that are using this revolution as a sort, as a tool or as a pistol of making money. So that is what I think we can do. So don't force people, enlighten people, tell them the importance of this revolution. Tell them how important it is, and they will see with your ideas. Not everybody can contribute money. I remember, I think 3 years ago or 2 years ago, we contributed stuff here. Even people who have never seen them in demonstration movements, we made one container here of dresses, medications, food for our IDPs in Nigeria. And a host of other families, people that I knew here because I was in charge of collecting those things from my own region. They gave those things, gave food stuff, gave dresses, and I was so surprised. So you see, everybody has his own way that he wants to support this revolution. So they did a good support, and I really thank them. And our people got those things, and they were very happy. They knew that they are not abandoned, or they were not abandoned any longer. So my brothers and sisters, is on this note that I want to call it. Before calling it a day, I would like to as well give this advice to the restoration forces. During the period when we started this and there were road blockades, we never witnessed the type of killings that we are witnessing now. Our people were never killed so easily. Imagine if you fell sticks on the road. Before the army, they don't even have enough helicopters, my dear brothers and sisters. I know La République, the country we are talking of. If they had, they would have been fighting Boko Haram properly there. On their airspace. They don't have. So still be using those methods. Road blockades should be paramount. Even if you have AKs, block those roads. This is a war this is a war, not a joke. Let nobody tell you that when the roads are blocked, they will not be able to go to the market. Will they prefer being shot and never to see a market again, or will they prefer the road to be blocked and they remain safe? Because if you block roads, for example, I come from Bangem local government area, we have a lot of thick forest there. If those sticks are felled on the way, it will be difficult for La Republique to enter, to penetrate and march freely to our land before they get to Mwambong, because the roads themselves are already a hindrance to that movement. If you block those roads, it's not possible for them to get there. Before they get there, you have the information and you relocate. Then we don't lose people like this. And that should be done. We should take guerrilla warfare very serious, rather than thinking that face-to-face combat is something that will yield results. We don't want to lose a lot of people. We have been losing a lot. So my brothers and sisters, I will still call, and let me emphasize, Belgium should reboot this branch with a coalition of the willing, genuine Ambazonians. And I would like to call on us again, never for us to be threatening our people back home that are already undergoing a lot of hardship, sufferings from the military. Don't go and be asking the ransoms. Don't go and be kidnapping our mothers. Don't go to the markets and be saying that they give this, they are supporting the struggle. If one has something to give, he gives you freely, but not by terrorizing the person. They are our own. Don't be hurting your own. Because if you start hurting our own, they will turn against us and they will become informants to that colonial regime, because everybody wants to be free. Nobody likes it. So don't hurt our own people. So it's on this note that I call it today. Thanks for watching and share, so that those who were unable to be here live today with me on this show can also watch it later. It's your boy talking from Belgium. Bye-bye.